What's going on, people? Welcome to 137 Works, and today we are going to talk about the first Formula Drift event of the year. It was obviously at Long Beach as ever, and it contained a lot of the usual suspects, a couple of new people, a few new names that I didn't recognise, and overall it was pretty good. But I had some points. I had basically 4 or 5 main points that I wanted to hit on about what I thought about the event, kind of what I seen just watching it live as it happened. So let's just get straight into it. Basically, overall it was good. I'm a big Formula Drift fan. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Matt Powers, and he hasn't competed for a couple of years, so without him in it, I'm just kind of generally rooting for the Irish guys or anybody in an S14. I kind of just hope for it to do well. Yeah, just overall, it's just, I still enjoy it, I still love it, but there's definitely some nitpicky points that I have to point out that I didn't entirely enjoy watching it this year for the first round. Obviously, all of these things can be improved or changed all over time. Any of the negative things that I say, and any of the positive things that I say, obviously you hope for more throughout the rest of the year. But basically, yeah, first event of the year. It was it's always a great show in Long Beach. It's a great track. It's a great section. It's great fun to watch. Very exciting. But there's a couple of bits I noticed down. First and foremost, I have to say it up front, on top of everything else, whatever you want to say about all the other big guys, the thing that stuck out to me the most, Travis Reeder is a beast. The guy is an absolute monster. The guy has, according to the commentary, Jared and Ryan were saying, it's a 500 horsepower S15, or S13 even. And it's kind of it's interesting looking. It kind of sort of reminds me a little bit of maybe Dai Yoshihara's old S13, a little bit, just in kind of the silhouette sort of. But yeah, the guy killed it in his top 32 battle against Alex Heilbrunn, and Alex Heilbrunn is no scrub. He's a more relatively recent name to the kind of FD roster, but he's also a very capable driver, and Travis Reeder beat him and completely held his own. He definitely deserved to go through. And then he came up against Peter Visick, again, teammate of James Dean, the Wardhouse Drift guys, number 3 in the championship last year, and he more than held his own. He was very, very good. Obviously, he couldn't compete maybe angle-wise or speed-wise or style-wise, but he's still, if you go back and watch those battles, he held his own. So Travis Reeder, again, literally first time ever hearing of the guy, with all due respect, at this event, watching this event live, because I missed qualifying being in work and stuff like that. He absolutely surprised me. I was just like, who the heck is Travis Reeder? And he told me who the heck he was. He really, really held his own. He's definitely one to watch for the future. 100%. Reminds me a lot, again, of Matt Powers in the early days. Kind of underpowered street style car. Kind of just putting on a good show, keeping up with the bigger guys. Especially Peter Visick, who's obviously in the Wardhouse S15, which are basically the equivalent of Mercedes and F1 when it comes to Formula Drift. Those Wardhouse, how do you even pronounce that? S15s are essentially just completely overpowered and just amazing, not in the literal sense, overpowered in just the fact that they're so well put together, so built, so the tune and the drivers and the cars all just mesh so well that you just seem like the perfect match. And he held his own completely. He was actually fantastic against Peter. So that's number one, first and foremost, Travis Reeder. Amazing performance, 100%. Big shout out to him. The next thing, the drone. That's I just have these in order of as I was noting them down as I was watching along. The drone that they used, shit, essentially, for lack of a better term. It's a cool idea. It's a great idea. There's great shots that are potentially to come of it. But the quality was dreadful, and they kept on using it, and they even posted drone shots on the official Formula Drift Twitter and stuff like that. That quality is not acceptable, and I know it's the first time that it's being used, and it's the first event and all that kind of stuff. I get that, but it's not. It wasn't ready. They should have tested it more. They should have maybe brought it in, tested it further in advance, or brought it in maybe at the next round. If they wanted to use it in round 1, they should have had to make sure, or they should have made sure that it was 100% ready to go and good to be used. But they didn't, unfortunately. And yeah, just the video quality was terrible. It always cut out too short. It always cut out right after the second outside zone. The drone didn't even once show the final clipping point. So that was a bit strange. Also, it was just distracting. It got in the way. For me, as I'm watching the runs happen, it's almost like a fly was buzzing past my screen, my monitor. It was like a fly buzzing around. It takes your attention away from the battle. I don't like that. It's cool for promo shots. It's cool for any kind of TV stuff they might want to do. But I don't think I like it in the long run for battles. It's just too distracting. It's too much in the way. And also, an aspect that occurred to me while I was watching it. It could potentially be distracting for the drivers. At certain points, his drone was coming in between the cars mid-tandem on the exit of the second outside clipping point, that outside wall there. In between the outside wall and where they wrap it around for the final corner. The guy was bringing the drone down in between the lead car and the chase car to get a cool, yeah, fair enough, again, it's a cool camera angle. for the to see what the lead car driver is doing and see how close the chase car is getting. All that kind of, it's a cool thing. A great talent for, I think they called him Johnny FPV. Maybe was the guy that was controlling it. Again, good stuff. But like as a driver, if I'm concentrating all my ability and focus on following the lead car, and all of a sudden something appears in my peripheral vision, or just like appears to like almost fall down, that's very distracting. Like I feel like that would be distracting. Again, I'm not a professional driver, a professional drifter, and they probably are more able to put up with something like that. But just for me, just like at first glance, that just seems like very distracting. Yeah, get all the cool camera angles you want, but it was almost literally interfering with the battles from the way that I was seeing it. So that was just that. Then let's get into the meat of the topic, for the reason I actually even wanted to make this video. The standard of professional drifting at the top level, outside the top 16, is atrocious. And I'm very sorry, and I say that as a fan and as a computer game drifter, as somebody who's only drifted a car once in his life at the Pro Drift Montello Pro Drift Academy thing. I have done it, but like as somebody that fully holds their hands up and says I can't do what these guys do, and like I don't think that I could. The standard for from like once you hit the top 16 and it's the best guys going against each other, it's great. But below that, like some of the names that I could go through here and just see how terribly they performed. And I'm not just ripping on the amateur guys or the pro-am guys or the rookies or the guys that only just got their license. You've got people, with all due respect, that have been in the competition for years and years now. The guy in the Kyle Mohan that went up against James Dean. The guy, again, much respect for Kyle Mohan. He's sticking with what he loves. He's sticking with the Mazda thing. He's doing that. It reminds me of that guy that everybody loved in the MX-5, the VA MX-5. Great commitment, great just drive and energy, and got the fans involved and everything. Excuse me. And it's great to see him out there, but it's not right. It's not working. It's not doing good. What's his name? Danny George? Is that the guy's name? Danny George, the guy that drove the MX-5? Again, nothing but respect and love for what they're doing. But the standard of drifting, when you're talking about the top 32, again, you'd understand for people in qualifying, like people that have only just got their license and stuff like that. But like, if you're making it through to the top 32 of supposedly the highest tier of drifting in the world, which you could debate like whether FD is or D1 or whatever, that kind of thing, but like, or even IDC, there's definitely a severe gap between, like, you look at something like Sebastian Gauthier against Daijiro Yoshihara, wasn't even close. It's just like, what's his, the guy in the Super, I'm terrible with names, the guy in the Super, Dan Burkett, again, super cool guy, great fun to watch drive, and like in kind of just like demos or like whatever, like he made an appearance a year or two ago in like Adam LZ's videos. Like, again, cool guy, great stuff, great car, Super is awesome, cannot drift competitively. Like, Dan Burkett has an amazing car, but like obviously he stuffed into the wall last year, he did nothing this year. Like, just the drifting level outside of the usual suspects of like the top 8, top 16 kind of guys, obviously top 8 onwards are just like amazing. Top 16, amazing with a little kind of like not like 80% and up. But then below that, it's like 50-60% ability, just to what I see. And that's unfortunate. It's disappointing. I don't know how you fix that. I know drifting is an expensive sport. You rely on sponsors. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. I need to come across as clearly as I can that I know how hard it is. I understand how hard it is. It's not easy to be good. But it's just something that I noticed. It's just the level outside of a couple of guys within the top 32, once you get below the top kind of 16 drivers, it's just so low. It's crazy. That was just it. That was that I thought I should touch on. The thing that stuck out about Long Beach in particular is the touch and go. The first touch and go. When you first enter, that touch and go before you sweep it under the bridge, I really disliked that every second driver seemed to be backing their car in and damaging their bumpers on that, affecting their ability to get to the actual outside touch and go that actually counts. Like, and potentially affecting the rest of their run. I don't like that they all seem to be aiming for like baller entries, scraping the outside wall, trying to get back inside after making a mistake or hitting the wall there, and then like as almost a secondary thought, getting out to to where Bill usually stands or usually stood. Also, side note, no Bill this year. Strange. I don't think he was there last year, or like he might have been there like a bit last year. But yeah, I wonder what's up with Bill. Yeah, the fact that they all just seem to be like heading back end first into the touch and go. It's only a touch and go. Like, why were they putting so much effort and so much kind of focus on the touch and go? It was very strange to me. The whole idea of Long Beach is that you're meant to initiate, get out towards the touch and go to set you up for what should be what they were doing almost on the touch and go, but where it actually matters. You're supposed to like kind of get to the touch and go, touch it and go, and then swing around, and then you do your baller angle and scrape your bumper or like nudge just under the bridge. Then you come out and obviously do the outside touch and go, or the second outside touch and go, and then you wrap it around inside. I didn't like that this year. I don't know if that was from a driver briefing thing with the judges where they said that we want you to put more of a show into the touch and go. In that case, make it a clipping point. Make that the first clipping point, in my opinion. Like, I just didn't like how much emphasis drivers were putting onto that. Like, a lot of accidents, a lot of nudges, a lot of kind of mistakes that were made in the runs over the whole competition that I watched last night were from that outside first touch and go, which is just, it just seems silly. I don't know if it's the drivers not being able to get out there. And again, I know that it's difficult from playing it in a Assetto Corsa, from playing it in Forza, from playing it in games, for whatever aspect of like kind of that can give me of like what it's actually like to do it in a real car. I understand it's difficult. That is a surprisingly difficult corner to do, even just in video games. So I can only imagine what it's like in an actual car. But the emphasis that they were putting on that corner or that part of the track for some reason just really put me off a little bit. But overall, what I will say positive about it to wrap it all up was I'm very happy and very surprised and very thankful to see the final that we did, which is Forrest Wang versus Odie Bakchis. I've been a big fan of Odie Bakchis for a long time, back from obviously the S14 thing. After Matt Powers left, Odie was rocking the S14 and it looked really cool back in the day. And obviously Forrest Wang just really like holds out that kind of like street style, Japanese style, balls to the wall style drifting that I love. It was disappointing to see the Irish guys kind of go out before the end, but obviously James Dean and Dean Kearney gave us a trilogy, or like was it a trilogy? Was it 3 battles? Or they gave us like a kind of a show to watch, and that was really cool. And obviously Peter Vincek, obviously not Irish, Polish, but I believe he's Polish, geez, I hope I hope I didn't get that wrong. But yeah, whatever, like what he was doing and the fact that he got so far in it was really well. He did really well. But yeah, just mainly the fact that it wasn't the usual. It wasn't just James Dean and Peter and Von Gittin Jr. and the usual big guys like Justin Pollock or whatever like that getting to the end. That was cool to see, and that was very positive, and that leads that even Frederick Asbo, who I'm a big fan of, maybe not necessarily in his cars. That's another subject of mine that I don't like. I don't like that Frederick Asbo is competing in a hatchback. It's cool, it's different, it's unusual, but like, come on, I don't want to see a Corolla drifting, to be honest. That's just one of my personal opinions. But yeah, just to see those usual guys out of it was very cool, very interesting, especially, and even with the qualifying, Matt Field in the Corvette, seeing him getting the number 1 position over qualifying was really cool. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, but there was just some notes that I took I took from the first round that I thought I'd talk about, and just kind of throw maybe some Forza drifting in the background or whatever you're going to watch. If you agreed, appreciate you, leave a thumbs up. If you disagreed, let me know why, leave a thumbs down. Leave some comments in the description below about your opinions about what I've said. But that's about it for now. If you enjoyed it, please do, if you enjoyed it, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.